looking for a fun experience on the water with your family? Bring them to the Orlando Water Sports Complex, located off Highway 528 near OIA. The Orlando Water Sports Complex provides an experience you won't soon forget, featuring cable wakeboarding, as well as the Super Air Nautique G23, the world's best wakeboarding and wake surfing boat for guests to enjoy. For more info, visit actionparks.com. That's AKTIONPARKS.com. And tell them Full Court Press sent you.
Listeners, now I know you've heard of this up-and-coming brand Hoop Culture, which is headquartered right here in Orlando, Florida. But here's something that you didn't know. They are opening a flagship store in Fashion Square Mall, downstairs right in front of the movie theater. That's right, the brand that has brought you the iconic Eat Sleep Ball design is bringing their streetwear brand to retail. Stay ahead of the fashion trends. Go visit them online at hoopculture.com or follow them at Hoop Culture. Our listeners save 30% off your next order. Use the code RADIO at checkout.
Looking to expand your reach and following in all platforms of media? Need a jumpstart in expanding your brand to all markets across the world? Sofo is here for you. Sofo means something for everyone, and they help expand your business through all platforms of media. Need to grow on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram? Their experienced team expands your brand and puts your business in places you would have never been before. Call Sofo at 407-607-9862 or follow Sofo LLC on Instagram.
Welcome to Late Night Parents. I'm your host, Ted Hicks. We have a weekly podcast where we sit down and talk with game changers in the sports, technology, education fields. We even do product reviews and giveaways. Why, you ask? Because we're all parents. So if you're ready for an up-close and personal look, then you can check out our podcast. New episodes are available every Thursday. Catch us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. That's Late Night Parents. The site is latenightparents.com.
We are back for the morning tip-off of Spreaker, 407-378-3717. Thanks everybody for checking in this morning. We've had some technical difficulties I didn't really know about. Last segment, a lot of my stuff I was saying didn't get played, but everybody did hear Jay Waddell in his fantasy. So here's what we're going to do. We'll make a quick little adjustment to the show, go a couple minutes over. Let's go back over some of the games that you guys did not hear us talk about real quick. Grizzlies fell short to the Clippers, 94-92. Mike Conley and the crew fell short down the stretch. Zebo, 26-9. But really, it's all about Blake Griffin. 24 points, 12 rebounds. DeAndre Jordan doubled again. Chris Paul, 4-14 shooting. Really, this game was all about the Clippers and their depth. Josh Smith, 6 huge rebounds and 3 huge blocks on the bench. 11 points from Crawford, 9 from Rivers. Didn't get anything from Stevenson or Paul Pierce. At the end of the day, the Clippers still held on, and the Grizzlies are really at a point now where at 3-5, they're not competitive offensively. It's time for a move. If anybody needs a move in the NBA, it has to be the Grizzlies, because right now, if not only Gasol or there's nobody on this team to score. Because if you're asking Barnes, if you're asking Courtney Lee to do it, obviously none of the three of them are getting it done. Not score. So you're asking too much from not enough people. And time to package up a whole bunch of players, call Brooklyn, go get Johnson, and call it a day. Bulls won 111, Sixers 87. We talked about this earlier. Really, Bulls 6 players in double figures. Really, Mirotic 20-10, 16 points in the second half, 18 from McDermott. Really, the Bulls just basically ran the Sixers up and down the court. Wasn't much to talk about or write home about at the same thing. But really, the Sixers are bad. Okafor, 21-15, 9-24 from the floor. But the Bulls, it was one of those games where Chicago had to blow them out, get some rest. Like I said, double figures, one player of the majors that didn't get it was Butler, only 7 points for him. No Noah for the Bulls, no Noel for the Sixers out, but going forward, the Sixers need some kind of scoring help. It's going to be all year. Nick Stauskas, 2 of 13 shooting, and if you're not shooting, you shouldn't be shooting. If your shot's not going in, pass the ball up. All right, let's go back to also fantasy basketball. Also, Jay Waddell's picks for DraftKings is something that you guys wait for around lunchtime. Jay will have them up. He kind of went cold last night with some of the picks. Devin did decent. Redick did fine. But tonight, he said, look for a lot of Dallas Mavericks. He talked about Darren Williams being one of them, Zaza Pachulia. So they're playing the Pelicans. Also, he said Eric Gordon is a guy to look out for as well, too. Let's go into the final games on the schedule before we go into tonight's games. The Denver Nuggets at home against the Portland Trail Blazers. The Blazers coming off a game where they blew a humongous lead at home to the Pistons. They go on the road into the altitude of Denver, and they fall short 108-104. Blazers shot 39% from the floor, and really, other than Damian Lillard last night, 30 points, it wasn't much more. CJ McCollum scored 16, 46 points. They got a good game from Miles Leonard, a good game from Mason Plumlee, but really, the Nuggets look good. And my bold prediction yesterday of Emmanuel Mudiay having under 3 turnovers came true. Mudiay was just all over the place. 18 points, 5 as rebounds, 6 assists, 2 turnovers, and a humongous block on Lillard down the stretch of the game to pretty much seal the victory. They also got 19 and 13 from Kenny Free, J.J. Hickson, 17 for Reed. But really, the Nuggets shooting the basketball was the key. And also, the fact of Mudiay hitting shots and playing defense. Mudiay using his long frame to keep Damian Lillard out the paint down the stretch of the game. And like I said, the Blazers weren't hitting shots. So if they're not hitting shots and Lillard can't get to the basket, got to give credit to the defense of Denver. And Denver can surprise some teams. Because last night, Gallinari didn't play well, didn't shoot the ball well. They're still without Wilson Chandler. Jeffrey Laverne is still out. He should be back on Wednesday, still fighting the back issues. And the Nuggets are still learning. And Gary Harris and Mudiay are starting to figure things out in the backcourt. You still have Will Barton. You still have Randy Ford. You still have Jameer Nelson. Not saying the Nuggets are a playoff team, but they can make some things interesting and show some good fight in some of these games. 407-378-3717. Last game we haven't talked about, the return of Boogie. DeMarcus Cousins returns for the Sacramento Kings, and nothing changes. Spurs 106-88 over the Kings. DeMarcus Cousins 21 points, 12 rebounds in his first game back. Boogie 5 of 20 from the floor. Rudy Gay, Rudy Gay is just, missing once again. No one knows where Rudy Gay is. No one knows where his jump shot is. No one knows where his game is because Rudy Gay was terrible again last night. 5 of 15 from the floor, 10 points. And, okay, it's bad enough that this team can't score and struggle without Boogie. But Rudy Gay makes $16 million a year. And for a guy who's superly talented and has a bad reputation for not helping his team get better, when you're shooting like he's shooting, it's going to make things even worse. Gay looked lost out there. Kawhi Leonard, which is Kawhi Leonard. Leonard, 24 points. And he's quietly sneaking himself up in the MVP voting, in the MVP race. Really, Leonard and the Spurs are one of those teams where not one guy's a star. A whole bunch of guys do some great things, and they don't need it until May and June. The Spurs are playing great basketball. You're not really hearing much from Tony Parker. You're not really hearing much with Danny Green. Tim Duncan is Tim Duncan, 11 points, 14 rebounds, and probably one of the best assists you see from a guy who's about 712 years old that you ever see. If you missed it, we'll have it on FCP, Full Court Press Radio Facebook page. Basically, Duncan gets on the ground for a loose ball and just shovel passes it for an easy layup. I mean, Duncan is doing everything in what could possibly be his last year to get this team going to win a championship. And you're making these plays in November, and if the Spurs can stay healthy keep their movement going, and get these guys scoring. Doesn't have any major injuries. Leonard carries his team in the regular season. I don't want to play Spurs in the playoffs. But back to the Kings. Rajon Rondo played every single minute last night, which is a good thing and a bad thing. But really, the Kings' problem is that the Kings don't have a two guard. You got to give Marco Bello credit. 17 points against his former team. And what the problem has been, they're starting Jay Anderson. Ben McLemore has been nothing. And Bellinelli is not a full-time starter in the league. So when you have all these problems, and we all know art is a problem, if Boogie Cousins work, do you trade Boogie for a two guard? I was talking to the game on Friday in Orlando, and we were talking about what could the Magic do to do something different. And the Magic are one of these teams in the East where the talent's there, but there's and it's time for a change. I think they need to go evolving forward. So me and a couple of writers were talking about potentially this Kings and the Magic maybe making a move. Sending DeMarcus Cousins to Orlando. You send back Vucevic, and you also give them a swing player, maybe Evan Fournier, to help out the Kings in their needs at the swing position. And then the Magic, you'll end up having Boogie Cousins. You could put Dedmon at the 5 position, or have Boogie play center with Tobias Harris at the 4. Even though Harris prefers plays in 3, you still could have Oladipo, Peyton, DeMarcus Cousins, Tobias Harris. That in the Eastern Conference is nasty. You think about it. A half-court offense, you get the ball to Boogie down low. Boogie's a good and willing passer. You get some shooters out there, Super Mario. You have Channing Frye. You can stretch the defense. And really, at times, you can let Dedmon play the center position so that Boogie doesn't have to take all the punishment. And kind of the same thing they're trying to do with Willie Cauley-Stein is that Dedmon could be that athletic, big, as long as Dedmon can stop fouling, Boogie and Dedmon, and they say Harris at 3, then you have Oladipo, you have Peyton, you let Super Mario come off the bench as a 6 man, you have CJ Watson, the Magic, Channing Frye, Aaron Gordon, real nice. Or even, best case scenario, you put Boogie at the 5, Gordon at the 4, with Tobias at the 3, and had them two alternate 3 and 4, with with Oladipo and Peyton. I don't know. We're bringing up with Zach Oliver tonight on NBFCP Radio. It's our Full Court Press Radio, sponsored by SoFo LC at 9 p.m. on 96.9 iHeart and 740 The Game here in Orlando. iHeart Radio released nationwide. But I'm going to bring it up to Zach and see what his thoughts are. Also get Mark and Paul's thoughts on it. Because the Kings have only won one game. And I know Boogie missed time. But let's be honest. They fired Mike Malone when Boogie was hurt. And he was just coming back from injury. And this team is now 1-8. They're bad. Let's not cut anything about the Kings. They're bad. And how much longer is Vlad going to either keep up with Carl or keep up with Boogie? One of the two has to go. Now, in the defense, Boogie's been hurt. Collins is hurt. They don't have as much depth, especially with those two guys out. They started Quincy Ace the other night. And, Willie Cauley-Stein and Koufos, they're serviceable. But they're not exactly the guys that you want, starting full time. But maybe Sacramento and Brooklyn might be in selling mode early in the season, especially as they have some players that can do some help for other teams. Rondo is actually playing solid. The problem is that Rondo, for what he's been doing, doesn't have very much help. So the assist numbers could be a lot better. But really, if they don't make a move, Rudy Gay has to step his game up. If Rudy Gay doesn't do it, the Kings are going to be even worse, going forward. Let's get into tonight's games before we get out of here. 7 games on the schedule tonight, highlighted by the 4-2 Utah Jazz traveling to the 6-1 Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs, of course, we all know LeBron James, Kevin Love, who was outstanding on the boards last week, averaging 15 a game. Love is starting to look